Reddit ask me anything. I was born blind. Now, thanks to a surgery, I can see. Ask me anything. Any thoughts on your penis? I feel if I was blind and saw my own penis for the first time, I'd be pretty damn confused. LOL. I had touched it, of course, if you know what I mean. But when I saw it, I thought it looked funny and I was laughing at it when I was alone. Some of us do that anyway. My girlfriend does it more than I do. Serious question. Always wondered, how do you know when to stop wiping? Congrats BTW. Well, I just continued wiping until I was sure I was clean. It's generally not too difficult to tell when you're clean based on how it feels. Essentially you just pay attention to how easily toilet paper slides across your butt. Rougher gliders cleaner. That might sound ridiculous but that's how I did it. What was the first thing you saw? And now that you've seen so many things, what was the first thing you wished you saw? Now I kind of wish I had seen the faces of my loved ones first, but they were standing aside from me to not bother the doctor. What did you think of your family when you first saw them? Did you picture how they would look like when you were blind? If so, do they fit your mental picture? My parents have let me touch their faces, so I had some thoughts about what they might look like, but they turned out to be completely different just like everything else. They were smiling and I thought that they're all really nice. What kind of surgery was it and how did it work? What were your first impressions when you were able to see? Very emotional. I was crying for a good while. It was a laser surgery to remove the abnormal blood vessels in my retina. Wasn't blind before, but I had laser eye surgery. Cried when I sat up and could read the time on the wall clock. Went from -10 vision to being able to see in minutes. It's such an emotional thing. It is. It turns your whole world upside down. How did it feel to see yourself in the mirror for the first time? Congratulations by the way. I'm so happy for you. Thanks. It was weird because people had described to me what I looked like, and from feeling my body I thought I was a bit chubby and had large hands and feet, and when I actually saw myself, I was like, wow, a nice guy. But that's not what I thought I looked like at all. That's so awesome. I'm sure people describing how things looked to you before you got the surgery was a hard concept to grasp. Like I've seen people try to describe what it is like to be blind to people who aren't blind. I've heard it's not darkness, but almost like if you held your hand over your eyes. Very, very happy for you. It's very hard to describe what it's like to be blind if you haven't experienced it. Maybe for people who go blind at some point in their lives, it seems like darkness, but if you're blind from birth, it's more like nothingness. You just see nothing, not even darkness. I don't honestly know how to explain it. I read something once where someone was trying to explain blindness. If you close one eye you don't see black or anything at all with that eye. It's just nothingness. That was the best way I've heard it explained. Have you looked at the wonders of the world, even just a picture, yet? I imagine it would be kinda hard to grasp without sight. Also, how is it learning to go from Braille to the English alphabet for reading? I had a private teacher who came and is still coming to my house to work with me and teach me English. It wasn't very difficult. I actually grasped it pretty quickly. Now I find it difficult to read Braille. I have seen pictures of them, yes. What was the one thing you really wanted to do and thought you never could? And have you done it now? Go out alone, without any guidance, and be able to get somewhere on my own. That means so much to me. Can you drive? Not yet, but I want to learn. Imagine what your guide dog would think of you driving. LOL. You ignored the yield sign. Are you ducking blind? I don't want to make you uncomfortable and don't want to guess at your sexuality, but I'm so curious as to how it felt to see someone you were physically attracted to for the first time. Whether it was from a previous relationship or just someone at the grocery store. Was it different having a visual element? Thank you for sharing your experiences. I'm completely fascinated and will probably spend my evening researching this type of game-changing experience. My mother-in-law is deaf and has been contemplating getting a cochlear implant. Honestly, I have never dated in my life and I have never had a romantic relationship with anyone. Because of being blind, I didn't go out a lot, didn't meet a lot of people. I was basically living in my small circle of family and friends, and I was homeschooled, and probably no one would want a blind boyfriend anyway. but I'm straight, if you wanted to know that, and maybe one day I'll meet a female I'll feel that kind of attraction to. I feel like there's a having sex with the lights off joke to be made out of that, but TBH this sparked a bit of curiosity. Would you jerk off? And if so, to what exactly? And also, how long did it take to learn to read words and numbers? Yes, I would. Quite often, to be honest. LOL. Sometimes I remember hearing a nice woman's voice on the streets and that did it for me. It took me a few months. Seeing as how you've spent most of your life reading Braille, which do you prefer? Reading by sight or touch? Sight. Definitely. Woot. Woot. I'm so happy for you. My questions are 1. When you were blind, how would you dream? Did you see things happening? Has that changed now that you can see? 2. How do you feel about colors? Could you even imagine them? Which one is your favorite? 3. Do you get overwhelmed by all there is to see? 4. Is depth perception learned or innate? 5. Did your idea of ugly change now that you can see? Yes. The world is much bigger than I had imagined it and there's so much to see. When I left the hospital, my head was going to all directions because so much was happening on the streets. Do you have trouble processing what you are seeing, or is it just natural and immediately realize what you are looking at? I had at first. I had to touch things to know what they are called. Very interesting. So did you know in your head what you were looking at and couldn't remember the word for it? Or you couldn't associate the touching of an object to what you saw? I just didn't know what it was. It would be the same as if you saw something you have never seen before and had no idea what it was. For me, the idea was in my head, but I had to touch the thing for it to come out. And what about things you couldn't touch? I mean, things you couldn't touch all at once. Cars, buildings, even your own furniture at home. I think I have felt everything in my house by now. LOL. If I couldn't touch it, I would just ask what is was. Thank you. One last question. Has being able to see made night day more pronounced and your internal schedule more natural? Does that make sense? So your body is more in tune? It has messed my inner clock up a bit, but that's probably my own fault because I tend to stay up late sometimes to explore the nighttime. How is your vision now? Do you require any aid? How has dating changed for you? How has your attitude toward your appearance changed? Do you exercise or try to dress fashionably now? How did you choose your clothes before? Unfortunately, I don't have 20/20 vision. That wasn't possible. The cause of my blindness was complicated and I was only given about a 50% chance that the surgery will be successful at all. I have to wear glasses every day to sharpen my sight. I have honestly never dated before and I'm not very interested in doing it right now. This time has been very emotional to me and now I'm working on other things. I want to find a job, to become independent from my parents, find a living place of my own and travel, and then, maybe later I'll start to feel a need for another person. I was glad when I found out I wasn't chubby after all. LOL. I exercised before and I exercise now. I enjoy running, swimming, weightlifting. My friend is a fitness trainer and he helps me with that. I didn't choose my clothes when I was blind. How could I? I didn't see them. My mother did it for me and I just trusted her taste because what else could I do? Now I choose clothes myself and when I look at my old pictures, that's not very different from what I used to wear before. I wouldn't say I'm very fashionable. I like to keep it plain and simple. Were you hesitant to get the surgery, as it would be life-changing? Or were you all on board from the get-go? I wasn't hesitating at all. I never really accepted my blindness and always wanted to see, and I was super excited to learn that it might be done. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You go mega blind? Worst thing that could happen is trying it, failing, then finding out 5 months from now that a new procedure is available that would have worked if you waited and tried that first but won't work now. Okay, Satan. What's a favorite thing you've seen so far? Difficult to choose. Might be the sea. My friends took me to the seaside and told me to keep my eyes closed while they guided me down to the beach. It was so blue and huge and it was just so much water suddenly in front of me that I got really confused. LOL. Have you had a campfire yet? They're mesmerizing. I have. They are magical. What's your favorite thing to look at now that you can see? Probably animals. I'm still exploring the animal kingdom. Many of them seem so funny to me. I bet. Thank you for sharing with us. It's fascinating to think how much different the world was to you when you had no sight. Is there any animal that was shocking to see what they actually looked like? I was laughing my head off when I saw a walrus. I know it probably wouldn't be funny to most people, but to me it was. What did you think of platypuses and giraffes? I like them, especially giraffes. If you have Netflix, watch Planet Earth 2. It'll get you started, and it's pretty cool. Just want to say what a lovely person you seemed like from all your answers, but this one in particular really warmed my heart and made me want to give you a hug. I love animals and I think walruses are indeed extremely ridiculous looking. Did you have any pets growing up? I had 2 guide dogs. One died when I was 16 and the other one is still with me. Have you noticed a difference in your guide dog? Does he still try to guide you or does he realize you don't need him anymore? He is still guiding me. I don't know if it's possible to make him realize I can see now. I can't wrap my head around seeing for the first time after 21 years of life. I don't want to waste your time getting philosophical, so I'll ask my question: what were things you enjoyed when blind but now that you can see them, you don't enjoy as much, or you just look at it in a different way? No pun intended. Probably sleep. Being blind, I went to bed early and I enjoyed sleeping because I was dreaming a lot and it allowed me to escape the reality of my life that I didn't want to accept. Now I don't want to sleep so much anymore because I feel like I might miss something by passing out for 8 hours. LOL. Was being blind the same as you closing your eyes now? What did being blind look like? No, it's nothing like closing your eyes. If you close your eyes, you can still see light behind your eyelids. It's very difficult to explain what's like to be blind. I can only describe it as nothingness. You just see nothing. No darkness. Nothing. Maybe it's not a good explanation, but I can't find other words. It's not black. It's not darkness. It's just nothing. This description of blindness causes me distress. That's ducking horrifying. I find this extremely fascinating. There is no way non-blind people can visualize absolute abstract concepts such as nothingness or infinite, and I've never thought that blind people actually could get to fully comprehend the concept of nothingness but then not being able to explain it. When I think of the concept of nothingness, I think of it as that part in my sleep when I'm not dreaming. My vital functions are on but I get to remember nothing at all during those hours. Thanks a lot for this Ask Me Anything. I'm loving it and also you made my day. Congratulations to be able to see beauty. What will happen to your guide dog though? Will it retire and become a normal home dog or will it serve another person? He's still with me. I don't think I would be able to give him away. I have come to love him so much and he has helped me for many years, and even though it might be reasonable to give him to another blind person, I can't. Yes, that was one of the few things that were quite accurate. I had touched him enough to know what he's like. I don't know if he understands. I feel like he's still leading me when we go out for a walk. Have you been to the movies? What's your favorite movie? Yes, of course. I have seen a lot of movies. My favorite ones are probably the Terminator series. I imagine it took some time before everything on the screen made sense to you. What was the first movie or TV show you ever saw? Did you have to ask someone to explain some stuff that you weren't comprehending about the story due to the fact that you were still learning to interpret what you saw? Yes, my friends helped me a bit at first. The first movie was The Jurassic World. Enjoyed it. Have you gone to a museum? If yes, what did you think? Do you have a favorite painter/artist? I have. I thought I would be kicked out of there because I automatically wanted to touch everything, but you're not supposed to touch anything in a museum. LOL. I don't think I have a favorite artist. At least not for now. How long has it been since the surgery? 2 years. How did you react when you first saw your own face? I was surprised. I did think I was handsome, though. LOL. What's the one thing you're looking forward to seeing the most? Is there anything you've seen that you were surprised at how it looked like? The faces of my loved ones and friends. People who have been there for me my whole life. I was surprised at pretty much how everything looked like. Even though people had described many things to me, it was very hard for me to make a picture of it in my head, and every single picture that I had made turned out completely wrong. That's fascinating. Do you notice anything with your other senses? Smell, hearing, are they duller than before? Now that I can see, I pay less attention to my other senses, but I wouldn't say they're duller. I'm really enjoying this Ask Me Anything. Thanks for doing it. Are there any foods that you liked when blind, but dislike now that you can see them? No, I love all food with or without sight. LOL. I remember hearing some bits about how patients with later life vision restoration operations into adulthood struggle to interpret visual stimulus. Are there any difficulties that you have run into in learning to interpret visual stimulus over auditory etc? And how has the experience of relearning the world through sight been like so far? I had a trouble with associating things with their names, because touching was mostly my way of seeing before. For a while I still had to close my eyes and touch something to know what it's called. Like, my mom brought flowers to my room. I saw them and at first, I didn't understand what it was because I had never seen what flowers look like. Then I touched them and was like, oh, those are flowers. Now it's fine. I have understood what the world works like. But at the beginning, it was like being an adult baby basically. I had to learn everything like a small child would. What are things called? Reading, writing, etc. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cut you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content. It's free and that's a great price.